Hi everyone, back again with Cookless Hobby. In this video, we're going to take a look at Figuarts figure of Monkey D. Luffy, and this is the Gear 5 version of Luffy. Previously, I did several unboxing and review of Figuarts figure of One Piece. I'll put the link to those videos in the description. But in this video, we're going to take a look at this version of Figuarts figure of Luffy. I would say I have some contrasting opinion about it. We'll see when we get into the video. I pre-ordered this figure from Amiami with the price of 9,700 yen. Let's take a look at this Luffy figure together. For the box, I think the art is quite similar with other One Piece Figuarts box. Probably the difference is like the preview of the figure and the overall color of the box, but I think overall the art and the size of the box are quite similar. So as I've said just now, I have a bit of contrasting opinion about this figure. There are things that I really like and there are things that I dislike, but I'll get into it more a bit later. You can see briefly here, these are all the parts that are included with this figure. I would say the parts quantity is quite alright. It's not that many, but I think it's just the right amount for a Figuarts figure. For the instruction, it is located inside the packaging of the box on the left and the right side. You can see here, I think the instruction is pretty simple, even though there are some parts that might look complicated, but I think it's quite simple to swap and attach the parts. Probably just read it briefly and I think you'll be fine. We can see here briefly, these are all the parts of the figure. There are 4 extra face plates, the figure itself of course, 1 bonus head part of Luffy, 1 extra arm part, 3 extra hand parts, a lightning effect and stand. I think it's a decent amount of parts that are included with the figure. As for the articulation, the white cloth here, this has just a tiny bit of articulation, so it's quite nice because you can pose it differently. As for the joints on the neck, for the head, for the arms, for the waist and for the legs, it is still quite standard for a Figuarts figure. The white cloud part here can be removed, and I will probably leave it without the white cloud for most of the part, because I can demonstrate clearly for the articulation and the overall look for the figure. And for the articulation itself, even though there's joint here, there are actually wires on the arms and legs, but in this part I will not show the arms wire articulation. I will show it a bit later. But as you can see here, for the joints itself, it is still quite standard for a Figuarts figure. Nothing too special, nothing new. I think it's just quite fine. And as for the belt part, you can move it slightly. And as I've said before, the joints on the legs are quite standard for a Figuarts figure. And as I've said just now, there are wires on the legs as well. As you can see here, it doesn't really bend that much. In this video, I actually quite slightly forcing it with a bit of power, but this is as far as it goes. So I would say it's just pretty decent. It's nice that we get this kind of effect, so we can have like a stretching effect for Luffy, but I don't think the wire itself is can be stretched or bent that far, as you can see here. For the appearance, I think the overall look of this figure, I think it's really nice. I really like the overall look. I'm quite satisfied with it. As you can see here, from the face, from the hair, and from the outfit, and of the white cloth as well. I think it's not just the overall look. You can see the sculpting here is also nice, and probably the one I like the most is the overall color. I think the overall color looks nice for this figure, and probably you can see the back here. It's like the back part of this top sculpted that way because you want to pose this figure like floating or flying. So I think it's nice that they sculpted this way, so it really matches with those kind of poses. So overall, I'm quite satisfied with how this figure looks. I don't think there's anything I can complain about it. I would say if you used to with Figuarts figure, you kinda expect it to be this good in terms of overall look, and this is what we get with this Figuarts figure of Luffy. Now, this is the extra arm part. As you can see, it has wire as well, and you can see it bends really nicely. It's not that that amazing, but I would say it bends really nicely, as you can see here. So for these extra arm parts, both of them have wires. I'm quite satisfied with how the wire works for these arm parts. I think they are pretty nice and flexible for different kind of poses that you want to make with this Luffy. As for the arm that are attached with the figure, the wire is probably look a bit worse than the leg. You can see it doesn't bend and doesn't stretch that far. So I'm quite disappointed with how the wires on this arm part turn out, because I want it to be more bendy. I want it to be able to be bent more for more flexible in posing. So I'm quite disappointed with that. And this is the extra head part that you can pair with the figure of Luffy, the red on Onigashima version. Of course, this is the scene right before he turned into the Gear 5 version. So I think it's nice that we get this bonus head part from him for him. As for the extra faceplate, there are 4, and I think in terms of variation and quantity, it is what we expected for a Figuarts figure, and I would say it's quite nice. I think there are 2 a bit exaggerated fashion that I really like. I actually like this kind of animation when I saw in the anime, and especially this one with the eyes like popping out and the tongue as well. I like this kind of animation when I saw his battle with Kaido, and it's nice that we get this faceplate as well for the figure. As for the white cloud, as you can see, it is quite standard for a Figuarts effect. I would say this is part like an effect. There are slight articulation, and the lower part might be able to be removed, so don't worry if it's got removed from the top part. As for the lightning, I think the overall look is also quite standard for the Figuarts effect part, and you can see there's a spot there that you can remove. So this is to attach this lightning part to the hand part, which I will show later when we create a pose with this figure. As for the extra hand parts, there are 3 pairs. I would say this is what I expected, but I would prefer if they included maybe 1 or maybe 2 more pairs. I think it will be better for the figure because we can have more option in terms of posing with the figure with the hand parts. And this is the stand part. I think it's quite standard for a Figuarts figure. And of course we have the base part as well. Now we're going to create 2 different poses with the figure. For the first one, I will use the faceplate with this faceplate. So it's like maybe angry, or maybe using his skill or something. Just swap the faceplate like that, just like any other Figuarts figure. And we're going to use the extra arm part, actually the one with the ones that I said that I really like the wire on these ones. So we're going to use these 2. Just remove the one that attached first, and then just place these ones like this. It's just really easy to swap and attach each of these parts, especially for the arm parts. And I of course will bend it slightly, and I will place this hand part so it will look like he's trying to punch. So this is the first pose that I'm going for, and I would say it's not that easy to, it's not that hard to swap and attach the part. So I think you can create many different poses without any difficulty with this Luffy figure. And of course this figure can stand on its own, even though the wire on the legs, it will be able to support the weight of the figure. You don't need the stand to make the figures stand up like this. For the next pose, I'm going to attach back these arm parts, and obviously I will use the lighting part as well, because I want to show you how to use that. And you can remove the head this way, but I prefer to leave it on because I like it better with this Gear 5 version of Luffy with the head. I think it looks better on him. And I will use this faceplate, and for the hand part I will replace the left hand part, and you can use this hand part for the lightning, and just remove this lightning parts like I shown earlier, attach it to the hand part like this, and you're done with it. As I've said many times before, is not really that hard to swap and attach each part of this figure. So I think you'll find posing this figure quite easy. And we will use the stand as well to pose the figure like it's floating or maybe flying. So I will show this stand is able to hold the figure, the weight of this figure for this figure of Luffy. And as you can see here, it's just easy and nice to use the stand as well. We have created 2 different poses for this Figuarts figure of Luffy, the Gear 5 version. For the size comparison, first is with the Figuarts figure of Luffy, the raid on Onigashima, and then the Figuarts figure of Zoro of the same version, and then Figuarts figure of Luffy, the One Piece Netflix version, and lastly with Figuarts figure of Gojo, the Tokyo Jujutsu High School version. We have done unboxing. I have discussed most of the parts. Now we are going to take a look at this figure in my review. I think the overall look is nice. I would say I like the sculpting, I like the overall color, not only the figure but also the extra faceplate, the parts. I think the overall look of those things are just really nice. As for the extra parts, I would say the number of extra parts are what I expected from a Figuarts figure. So in terms of quantity and variation, it is still within the scope that I expected for a Figuarts figure. My main concern is with the wires on the arms and legs. For the extra arm parts, I actually like it. As you said before, I like how it bends, I like how it stretches out. So for the extra arm parts, I'm totally fine with it. The one that I have problem with are the ones that are attached to the figure. I don't think it's bent that far, especially for the arms. So I'm quite disappointed with the wires on the arms and the legs. So overall, I like the overall look, but I'm quite disappointed with the wires. So I'm still 50-50 in terms of recommending this figure. Okay, we have finished the unboxing and review video for this Figuarts figure of Luffy, the Gear 5 version. What do you think of this figure, especially in terms of the wires that I discussed just now? If you probably like One Piece, you like Luffy, and you just want to have a Gear 5 figure of Luffy without any care about the articulation, I would say just go for it and buy this figure. I don't think you will have any problem with it. But if you are a bit fussy in terms of articulation, especially if you want to pose it maybe for photography or you just like to pose it differently for your display, you might want to think first and look whether these kinds of articulation with the wires suits you or not. Let me know what you think about this figure down in the comment. For the next video, I'm going to be unboxing and review. Actually, I have two figures of Oshinoko. It's the Nendoroid Aqua and Kana Arima. But I think for the next video, I'm going to be unboxing and review the Nendoroid Aqua first. Please wait for the next video. If you want to support me, please consider to like and share the video, enable notification, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.